This morning I was reading about NASA's plans to go again to the moon. And one of the scientists made mention of the fact that what we don't know far exceeds what we do know. That fact alone should humble even the most intelligent among us. And really, it's good news, because the sooner we embrace the reality of our own ignorance, the sooner we'll be positioned to grow. On the other hand, nothing slows our development more than the assumption that we already know it all. Like they say, if you're not willing to be a fool, you'll never become a master. This means we have to be willing to expose our ignorance by asking questions. And even here, we encounter the problem of not always knowing what questions to ask. I think this is especially true in spiritual practices like prayer. Have you ever noticed that when you pray, you often come to God with a list of requests? Lord, here I am, and here are the things that I want or I need you to do for me. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not being critical of prayer requests, and I make them every day. But sometimes it might serve us well to start with something more fundamental. Something like, Lord, I don't know what I should ask for, so would you help me understand what I should want? I know that I often desire, even crave things that are not good for me. And because of our human nature, when we want something, even if it's wrong, we're very good at convincing ourselves that it's all right. We rationalize our desires and frame our wants in ways that make them appear virtuous. Then we bring them to God as prayer requests. Now listen to what James says about this very thing. He says, when you ask, you do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. James 4:3. He goes on to call this spiritual adultery and friendship with the world. He then encourages us to remember that while God opposes the proud, He gives grace to the humble. The humble don't come to God with their agenda and expect Him to get on board. They come to Him as children, asking Him to show them what they should want. Think about it this way. Prayer is your opportunity to commune with God, to be in the presence of the Prince of Peace, and to get in touch with the perspective of eternity. It's a way to remove your ego from the equation and reframe your desires in the light of the principles of the kingdom of heaven. So let me encourage you to take a little time right now to be still and know that He is God, to quiet your spirit, and instead of being so eager to ask Him for what you want, ask Him to show you what you should want. Now here's 3 questions you can ask yourself in view of what we've just discussed. Number 1, have you ever asked God for something and didn't get it, and then were later glad that you didn't get what you asked for? Number 2, have you ever wanted something so bad that you figured out a way to get it, and once you had it, you didn't want it? And number 3, is there anything that you're wanting right now that perhaps, if you can look at it from heaven's perspective, would be something you realize is not really what you should be wanting?